Listen, I hear what you're saying to an extent, but end of the day, this is one of the things that I've spoken about Salah for years. And when we have the Salah and the Hazard debate, I've said to you that for me, in terms of actually getting involved in the game and getting the game by the scruff of the neck, I don't really see Salah doing that. In terms of the GNA, yes, hold on.
You just admitted.
No. Let me finish my point.
1 second, bro.
Hang on, guys. I'm muting all of you. Guys, I'm muting everyone. I am getting a bit annoyed at this on the show. When I jump in the middle of an argument, please all stop so I can conduct it as the host of the show. Let me go to Don, then I'll go to you, Gal. Then I want to get Paddy's opinion on this. Back to you, Don.
Yeah, so like I've said to you, Terry, yeah, for me, Salah is a great, Premier League great. You can't put down the numbers. But I've always said about the other side of the game in terms of performing away from the GNA. So you can say, listen, right now, people are trying to jump on it because he's dropped down a level. I wasn't hearing that at the start of the season when Salah was bagging, you know what I'm saying? And he was getting a lot of GNA. It's only now people are saying, oh, maybe his level's dropped a little bit because he hasn't been putting up the GNA. But like I've said, these level of performances have been there for years, bro. Even when Salah was in his pomp, they've been there for years. Where he hasn't had a good game, but he puts up a goal, puts in an assist, and it takes away from the overall performance. That's my point. But it doesn't mean that I think Salah's a bad player. I think Salah's a great. Like
can I ask you a question, just on a scale of 1 to 10? Out of every 10 games, how often would you say that Mo Salah doesn't turn up and forget GNA, doesn't perform, and it isn't involved in the game? How many games out of 10 at his pomp and at his peak would you say?
It's hard for me to say that because number one, I'm not a Liverpool fan, so I'm not going to remember every single performance. But like I've said, I do remember a lot of performances where Salah gets a goal and assist, but in terms of his overall game, he hasn't been that good. But again, you can't put down the consistency, Terry. Like I've said. Home,
but
away,
you should be able to put. But if you've watched him enough to have this opinion that he doesn't take enough games by the scruff of the neck, you've got to have an idea about out of how many 10, out of how many 50, how many 100 games he plays, how many was he go missing in? That you must remember to have such a strong opinion. You must have an idea of a number.
Bro, what do you mean have an idea about the number? I've spoken to you before about Mane and Firmino turning up when he wasn't turning up. Give me
some specificity. How many games out of 10 do you think he's anonymous in his career?
Bro, I'm not going to just start making up numbers. I'm not going to do that.
You wouldn't be making up a number. You'd be giving us it based on your opinion. It's not making it up. You must know.
No, because it doesn't work like that, Tel. How am I going to go over the years and say, oh, in this season,
Don, I can tell it works like that. I can tell it works like that, Don. If I was to talk about Scott McTominay, I could quite comfortably say, I believe Scott McTominay turns up in maybe 1 or 2 games out of 10 where he looks really good. I am comfortable with that claim. I look at someone like Wayne Rooney for Man United, and I would say on performances, forget GNA, Wayne Rooney probably turned up on 7.5 to 8 out of 10 performances out of 10. It's a guesstimate, but I would think most people go, I get that. You must be able to put a number to how often he goes anonymous in games.
Bro, I'll probably say majority of the time, bro. I'll be real with you. I'll say majority of the time. I'll be real with you. Terry, majority of the time, I'll see Salah score or get an assist. But in terms of overall and getting involved in the game, I don't see it enough, bro. I don't see it enough. In the big games, he's had a lot of moments. He's turned up in a lot of big games. You can't put that down on him. Like I said, in terms of GNA,
Don, hold
on, Dio. I can never say much in terms of the GNA when it comes to Salah because that itself, it talks for itself. But in terms of the
GNA, can I jump in here? Because I've been waiting for this guy to finish.
Let's go to a gal, and then I'm going to get Paddy to round it up for us. Go on.
Guys, simply put, he stated his reason for bringing up this whole point. His whole point is to bring up Hazard and to big him up and put down Salah. That's his whole argument. He does not have the same level of consistency throughout his argument for other players. He doesn't have the same level of consistency and argument for his own team and his own players on his own team. He's holding Mo Salah to unrealistic expectations based on the fact that he continues to get compared to his club legend. And he told us, he told us all during this stream, during his argument to bring down Mo Salah. Immediately, nobody here brought up Hazard but himself, and he immediately compared him and started speaking about complete waffle. So you can continue to speak for the next 20 minutes,
waffle.
and you're not gonna.
Just because you don't agree with it, don't mean it's waffle, girl. Don't do that. Don't do that.
I did not interrupt you. I actually shut my mouth and was sitting there quietly, so you can sit there quietly and listen to what I have to say. Because sometimes
you're trying to say it's waffle because you don't agree with it, bro.
You don't listen to
do
that.
Paddy, over to you to round up the Salah conversation because obviously I get your point. You kind of want Liverpool to move on from him, but obviously, it's kind of gone into a bit of a discussion around him not really turning up in the majority of games in his Liverpool career. Like, do you echo that as a Liverpool fan?
I mean, listen, me and Don had this dance last week or the other week about this. his argument is purely based on around his Hazard propaganda, as Igal says. There's
of course it is. I'm not hiding away from it.
Hold on a minute now. You say take away the GNA. That you're taking away a key fundamental of an attacker. So it's like take away a goalkeeper's arms. It makes no sense. Listen, Salah has been one of our most consistent performers since the game in 2017. He has been unbelievable. This is his worst patch of form, admittedly, and you know it's been really, really bad. But I'm just all the scenarios and all the context around it. I'm surprised he's not going. Purely because the new manager, it's probably a time for him to walk away. You know, a lot of players might be like, right, this is my out now. We're not getting any better right now. We've had our time. We've won. I want a new challenge. He's not getting any younger. The AFCON thing in the middle of the season every year is a big annoyance as well. I love the man. We'll always love him. He can stay for as long as he wants, but I think purely based on footballing reasons, it would be a good time for him to go.
Paddy, don't believe everything you read because
wait, but I have a question though.
The club putting out there that he's up for sale just reduces the price. So for them saying keeping him would actually entice people.
But it's Ornstein, and Ornstein very rarely goes live with a piece of news unless he is like 95% certain. Generally speaking, there. I want to go to Will because he's got a question. But Don, this is where you confuse me, brother. I actually got a lot of time and respect for you. One minute you say that he's gone missing in the majority of games he's played in. In the next breath, you say he's a great. And I don't understand how you can be a great but not turn up in the majority of games.
We've spoken about this before, Terry, because I can't. Bro, you lot think I ignore the GNA. GNA is like Paddy said, is a key component for an attacker. GNA, no one can talk to Salah about the GNA, bro. But the thing that I've criticized him with, constructive criticism, which is okay with players, don't matter how great they are. Every player has got weaknesses and things you can criticize them on. And what I've said with Salah is, in terms of getting involved in a game, right? I want to see it more from him. Do you know what I mean? And like I've said, he's got the ability to do it, bro. Look at the goal that he scored against Man City when they beat like 3 players. He's got the ability to do it. But obviously, I didn't see it enough consistently.
I think Mo Salah done that about 3 or 4 times where he's dribbled past the whole defense. But genuinely, how many times have like great dribblers dribbled past the whole defense and scored a goal at the highest level of the game? Like,
that's not even the point that I'm saying. What I'm saying is in terms of getting involved in the game, bro. In terms of getting involved in the game and taking the game by the scruff of the neck. The GNA, it speaks for itself. I'm talking about when I look at Salah and when I look at Hazard, it's night and day with how they play. Night and day, bro. Night and day.
Yeah, I want to go to Will. Sorry, Will, what was your question? Then we're going to move on to Chelsea.
Nah, so it was for Don. So is your whole thing that Salah is just overrated, basically?
Nah, I just don't think he's better than Hazard. That's my thing. That's why I came back and rounded it up. Listen, I've said, I respect the guy. I think the guy's a great, bro. I respect him. He's a Premier League great. For me, he doesn't get into my best 11, but I just don't think he's better than Hazard.
When it comes to this conversation, it's like speaking to a Trumper about Trump. That's what you are. Really.
Yeah, but do you know what it's done? It diminishes your footballing opinion in people's eyes. And I'm talking to the viewers here, because what they'll see is you're kind of over-regging the slightly negative parts of Mo Salah just to win a Hazard argument that wasn't even part of the debate. It wasn't even in the debate. It wasn't a debate about.
But the thing is, Hazard and Salah will always be some sort of debate. When you talk about Salah, Hazard will enter the conversation somehow.
No,
the reason why I bring up Hazard,
we're going to move on from this in interest of time. There's a few super chats on this I want to jump to. First one says Hazard is better than Salah, in my humble opinion, is what this guy said. Yeah, I mean, people can have that opinion. It just weren't the debate today. Don gets me so mad sometimes. Arsenal fan here. Don talks about Madueke and them scrubs and talks about Salah not turning up in overall play. Not even a Liverpool fan, by the way.
Madueke turned up the other day, though.
Yeah. Don, give up this Hazard thing early. You've already been losing a lot already this season.
Do you know why I brought up Hazard? Yeah, is because Terry said, "Oh, we're only trying to say this now about Salah because he hasn't been playing well." When we've been saying this for years, that's why I brought up Hazard, because the point that Terry made.
But that's not a counter to my point. My point is, when you guys were saying that his performances weren't good when he was in his pomp, it wasn't true. You then wait for his actual performances to get bad and say, "This is what I've always said," and
you just didn't agree with it. It wasn't true. You just didn't agree with it.
That's disingenuous. Well, I don't agree it's true. I don't believe that he didn't turn up you couldn't put a number on it. And then you said, I don't think he turned up in the majority of matches. I think if you put a poll out now on the internet and had 1,000 or 1 million, up to 1 million people vote on it, most people would say you were wrong, that he's not turned up in the majority of his Liverpool games. I think most people.
I've had multiple conversations with like I said, I wish Roms was on this show. I've had multiple conversations with Roms about Salah and him ghosting in a lot of games.
I'll ask Roms a question. I know Roms watches. Roms, if you can text me or DM me now, do you think Mo Salah didn't turn up in the majority of his Liverpool games? Yes or no? I'd love to get your take on that, Roms. Tevin here says, so that is what he wants. If he doesn't do step overs and dribbles past 4 or 5 players, he doesn't have a good performance. Yeah, sure. This here says Hazard couldn't lace Salah's boots. Don's delusional. This states here, Don's Salah agenda is mad. Salah is a top-class player that puts fear on rivals. However, Hazard is clear. Eden Hazard over Salah, dribbling, playmaking, and clutch.
That's what I'm saying. People don't listen because I called Salah a great. I called him a great.
Yeah. And also said didn't turn up in loads of games. I don't understand. Salah is the best Premier League player if used correctly. He turned from a dribbler to a creator this season. Teams let him down. From an Arsenal fan. Come on, you gooners. Luke Skywalker here says smash the like button as well.